Brantford's lifestyle advantage is exploding, and it's becoming one of the biggest reasons that families and investors are choosing to move here in 2025 and 2026. So welcome back to Ask the Marshall Live. I'm Adam Marshall with Remax Twin City Realty, and today we're going to break down Brantford's lifestyle advantage. We're going to talk about parks, trails, neighborhoods, affordability, and the stats behind why people are moving here and investing here. Okay, if you'd like a copy of my guide, please go ahead and text lifestyle to 226-400-7322 for your full guide. We'll be glad to send that over to you and give you some great information about a lot of what we're going to be talking about here. And I have got some hidden deals in there for anyone that would like a copy of that, and we'll send that over to you. So Brantford, I feel that I could talk about pretty confidently. I'm born and raised here in Brantford, spent my entire life in this city, and I love it. You know, it's a beautiful city. It's conveniently located, and there's a ton of reasons, which I'm going to talk about today, about kind of where we're going, what's happening, and what makes Brantford just such an awesome spot to live. So Brantford's population right now sits at, as the last reporting, at about 104,688 residents as the total population. Since 2016, our population has increased approximately 6.21% and growing. As you can see, and as I can tell you about, there are many growing neighborhoods in Brantford, lots of new builds that are happening, and you're seeing more and more and more people come. It's pretty exciting to see. It's pretty exciting to be a part of. Anyone who has been here in Brantford for a long time, we know what Brantford has gone through and where it's come from. So it's pretty exciting and pretty encouraging to see. So just excellent. Now, Brantford's benchmark price for housing is $637,500. And now if we start to compare that with, say, Toronto's benchmark price is sitting at $1.1 million. And Hamilton's benchmark price sits at $775,000. So the value here is incredible, okay, as you can see. And the commuting around town is not a big deal at all, of course, because we are a smaller community. So, they say to get from one end of the town to the other, it is reported that it takes about 24 minutes from one side to the other, which I would say is pretty accurate. It's pretty accurate. I can tell you that from where I live to my office, which is in the north end, it takes me about 20 minutes. Okay, if I don't exactly if I kind of speed and push it, a little bit less, around 15 minutes, but generally 17, 18 minutes. That's how long it takes me. So that's pretty reasonable. You compare that to the average or normal commute, say if you live in Toronto, certainly in most cases it's not going to be like that at all. The home ownership rate in Brantford and Brant County sits at about 87.7%. So we have a very high ownership rate, especially compared to our nation, which sits in the high 60s. So only about, let's say, 13% of people rent, more or less. And so that means that a lot of people have a vested interest in Brantford and how it operates. And people are obviously interested in making our city better. Brantford offers one of the best combinations of affordability and lifestyle value in Southwestern Ontario. Now, of course, where we're located, right here on the Highway 403, we're only about an hour from the U.S. border, an hour or so from downtown Toronto. Pretty awesome location. And just about, say, 3 hours from the Detroit border down to Windsor. So pretty excellent location. Now, when we talk about Brantford's lifestyle advantage, people, if you search online, this kind of always drives me a little bit crazy. People want to focus on some negative stuff, negative opinions of what's happening. But you know what? Brantford is like every city, is growing and changing, and we have lots of issues that are happening. But when you look through all of that, you really look at the bird's eye view of how we've grown over the years and where we're growing. It's a really exciting thing to see. Living here in Brantford is awesome. Obviously, I talked about the affordability. Much more affordable than many surrounding communities, but we have all the amenities that many of these larger centers have. larger big box stores, Highway 403 access. You don't have to go anywhere outside of Brantford necessarily if you don't want to. Now, in Brantford, in terms of quality of life, our parks, trails are incredible. Okay. So for me, I am on the trails a lot. I do ride my bike, I do cycle, even though it may not quite look like it. I ride my bike a lot, put a lot of time in, and we have about just over 70 kilometers of connected trails here in the Brantford area. That's around the Grand River Loop, the S.C. Johnson Trail, the Rotary Trail, around Glenhurst Gardens. It's beautiful. Uh, and you'll see them. They're actively used. People are utilizing them, and it's great to see. Now, our trail system is part of the Trans-Canada Trail and will connect you to, you can leave Brantford and go up to Elora here in Ontario, or you can go to Toronto in the opposite direction. So all by trail. Pretty awesome. Here in Brantford, we have, our largest park, which is Mohawk Park. Lots of events happen there. It's beautiful. I used to live in a neighborhood right there, right by Mohawk Park. I was in that park every single morning walking my dog. It's gorgeous. If you haven't been there, it's beautiful. It's just a special kind of place, and lots of pavilions, lots of trees. They've got disc golf there. They've got a lot happening. Pretty awesome. We've got Brant Conservation Area, which is down on the southwest side of town, across by the Grand River, and it's gorgeous. If you haven't been to Brant Park or spent much time there, there's a vast amount of area there. Lots of wildlife, great camping, lots of activities that happen there throughout the year. And the Grand River Conservation Area, conservation, they take care of that Brant Park Conservation Area very well, I think. And it's well loved by many people. Visited regularly. They've got a pool there. They've got a lot of great stuff. Wilkes Dam. Wilkes Dam is right in Brantford, center of Brantford. Large dam that's been around for a long time. Without going deep into the history on that with you, it's a great fishing spot, by the way. I spend quite a bit of time there whenever I can. I'm just actually there this week with my son, just doing some fishing and spend some time there. Okay. The Grand River has, if you're a fisherman, Grand River has so many different species of fish. Pretty much everything that you could name in Canada, any type of sport fish, everything from muskie and pike all the way down to trout, pickerel, of course bass, you name it, all across the spectrum, and it's a great waterway. It's a great waterway. The Grand River at one time had its own challenges, but now and in today's times, it's a beautiful waterway. It's in great condition, and once again, the Grand River Conservation has done a beautiful job of influencing that, and I'm working at that with a lot of community groups, taking care of that, and it has really flourished, and it does extremely well. The community energy here in Brantford is awesome. Anyone who lives here, anyone who knows about Brantford, who knows that we have a lot of events, a lot of festivals throughout the year, approximately 30 to 40 community events throughout the whole year. We've got some large events that happen. As people know, our Canada Day festivities is second to none for a community of our size, for sure. And there's a lot of energy that goes into a lot of these events. When you're looking for something to do, there is no shortage. And there's a lot of volunteers here in Brantford that care about the city, that care so much about this town, about getting the community involvement. I think they do a beautiful job. And there's a lot of great organizations, everything from the Kiwanis and Rotary to the vast amount of groups, anything that you can imagine. I don't want to name them all in fear of leaving someone out. And I've been a member of a lot of these different groups, and I know the energy and the time that is spent in these organizations to plan these events. Okay, so anyone that comes out to Brantford and spent time here, they're a great job. One of my favorite events throughout the year, of course, and is nearest and dearest to my heart, is the Santa Claus Parade. Okay, that is something that is, as part of an organization here in town called the Brantford JCs, and it's called JCI Canada now. and we used to run that, and that's a great event. Always really really well done, and draws out a lot of people every single year. And it's coming up, by the way, it's coming up next week. So if you're looking for an awesome Santa Claus parade to come to, make your way to Brantford. Come by and have a look. I believe it's next week at 2 p.m. is when it starts. Be here, come early, spend some time. You will not be disappointed. The work that goes into that, they do an amazing job. There's some new organizers with that now, and they do, once again, they do an amazing job, and it's well done. Okay. Here in Brantford, this is a city where you can feel the lifestyle. Okay, the outdoors, the community focused, the activity, the active lifestyle. It's all within everyone's reach. It's right here, and you. And when you go to some communities, you don't always feel that. You don't always feel that accessibility. You don't always feel, that you're part of the community. You're part of the action. And certainly in Brantford, if you want to be part of it, you want to be part of the action, it's right here for you. It's just right here for you. So can't say enough about it. By the way, drop any questions that you have here on TikTok or on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Please drop your questions. I'd love to be able to answer some of them for you. I know that people have some great ideas and they're passionate about Brantford, so I'd love to be able to chat with you about that. Now, let's talk about our neighborhoods. So, neighborhoods here in Brantford, once again, a very passionate group of people are out there, and of course, me being a realtor, I can tell you the things that I hear about every neighborhood and opinions from people. But everyone certainly has their favorite. So I'm just going to mention some of the major, more sought after neighborhoods in town. But once again, I've lived in a lot of these neighborhoods in Brantford, so I can comment personally. But let me just give you a brief overview. If you're from out of town and you've got questions, hopefully I can answer these questions. So one very common neighborhood that a lot of people really like. Um, and Brad, you're right. Yeah, and I'll actually chat about that in a minute. So is the Henderson neighborhood. Now this is a very desirable neighborhood. We'll call it more or less centered in the center of town, along Paris Road, Tollgate Road, centered over by St. Paul Ave, Terrace Hill, around there. That's your general vicinity. Beautiful neighborhood, wide lots, mature area, mature trees. Close to high school, St. John's College, close to Highway 403, close to lots of transit. Everything's very accessible there, and it's in the center of town. So no matter where you go, you're not too far away. You're only about 10 minutes away. Very convenient, very sought after neighborhood. Okay. Mature lots, great parks, awesome schools, like I mentioned. Now, there's one general vicinity I like to mention. People like to break it down a little bit smaller in terms of wants or must-haves, but I'm going to call it Brantford's North End. Brantford's North End is a desirable location to be. For today's message, I want to just generalize that and talk about anything north of or around the Highway 403 and heading north from there. That is what I'm calling the North End. Okay, I'm not going to break down Briar Park, Greenbrier, Mayfair, or Linden Hills. I'm not going to talk about any one of them in particular, and I don't want to leave anybody out. But that's a common area, very desired, very sought after. Once again, close to all amenities, close to Highway 403, close to shopping, close to all the big box stores. There's off the top of my head, 3 of our large high schools in the area, many elementary schools. Great location. Once again, you're virtually 10 minutes from everything in the North End. So that's what makes it desirable for a lot of people. A lot of people. Okay. West Brant. Okay. Lots of people have opinions on West Brant. Okay. And West Brant, obviously, over the past 20 years, has been a really growing area, and it's been accelerating with all the new housing that goes in there, as everyone knows. So that's where a lot of our large builders from Ontario and Canada have come. A lot of local builders have been building houses there, and it's grown by leaps and bounds. So anyone that has grown up in Brantford, or anyone that was around in Brantford, let's call it in the early 90s, We can all remember when they built Assumption College out there, and it seemed like, what the heck is the school board doing? They're out in the middle of nowhere. Well, now they're in the middle of all of it. So it was a pretty wise decision to build that new school back then. And Assumption College right now, as I understand it, stands as the largest high school for student population in Brantford. I can tell you that 3 of my own kids go there, and great school, well-run, awesome teachers, and great location, close to awesome homes, and the whole neighborhood is growing. So lots of families live out there, as we know, and lots of elementary schools that are growing, and they need more out there, and that's part of the conversation that I know a lot of people have. And there's also lots of great parks, close to everything, close to the trails. The trails go through basically every single neighborhood in town in one form or fashion that someone can connect in. I've mentioned before, that's a passion of mine. I enjoy that. But if you're outdoors minded, that certainly is an attraction. Echo Place. Echo Place is one of my old neighborhoods. This is where I bought, my wife and I, we bought our first house together. Before that, I lived in East Ward, and I bought a couple multi-families that I lived in and still have. And then we moved into Echo Place. And I can tell you that I love Echo Place, where I lived. I used to live up by Mohawk Park. Beautiful area, quiet, wide lots. Neighborhoods were mostly built in the late 50s into the 60s, early 70s. And, you're talking, 40-foot and larger lots for lot width, nice size depths, and great location. One thing I always mention to people about Echo Place is that you are very close to everything. Okay, if you've ever lived in Echo Place, virtually straight down Wayne Gretzky Parkway, you can be to all the big box stores and the highway. And from Echo Place, you can actually head to Ancaster towards Hamilton, and you've got all your other additional stores or access to Hamilton there in very short order. Very short order. So if you're a commuter, that's a really desirable location. And once again, Echo Place, mature trees, the trails, Mohawk Park, close to everything. Great location. Now, one really great blessing that we have here in the Brantford area is we do have the Grand Area School Board, which take care of all of our schools and whatnot in our area, and they take care of over 26,000 students that they go ahead and they service through the schools and service through all their services. So pretty awesome. Okay, and the key point here is, of course, that Brantford is built for families. We've got awesome neighborhoods with parks, beautiful community, and there's long-term stability. Okay, everything's very accessible, and some of these neighborhoods that I've mentioned actually have very low turnover, and the very low turnover is there for a reason. People move there. They don't want to move if they don't have to. They want to stay there because it's a beautiful location. It's a beautiful spot. Now, question is for some people, why lifestyle drives the demand. Okay, so this is something that is very present, and I deal with this every day now, where over the past number of years, if you were from Brantford, you have lots of preconceived notions about where you want to live and why. Certain neighborhoods you like, certain neighborhoods you don't like. Fair enough. However, what is really emerging now with a lot of buyers is that buyers are really seeking the lifestyle aspects to the neighborhoods. It's not just price, although obviously a factor, but not just price, not just or because my family want to live there. There's other reasons like green space. They want a walkable neighborhood. Okay, we've seen that trend emerging a lot where people want to live in a neighborhood where they can walk to local services. They can be near things. Obviously, schools are important. People are looking for good quality or high quality schools. Safety. We want safety. Okay, that's what I believe it was Brad mentioned. Okay, a little while ago, right? We want to, talking about, there's lots of issues that arise, as we know, Brad, and we need more. Want to increase public safety, as we all do, right? And I'm going to TikTok for this, by the way, anyone who's asking, right? And Brad lives in Henderson, so he knows. Henderson's in a great neighborhood, central, very safe. Okay, great location. Okay, and of course, Brad also mentions he remembers when the Shellards was all horse fields, right, and farmland, right? We know that. Um, so this is what we're talking about, right? When you're looking for that safety aspect of it and the community feel. In these neighborhoods, the Henderson, the Echo Place, the West Brant, you're getting a community that's there. You're getting local amenities. You're getting a walkable neighborhood. You're getting all this comprised, and this is what a lot of buyers are looking for. And the issue is that they not only just a community feel, but they're looking for convenience. Buyers don't want to have to drive all the way across town to go to the store, the big box store. They want to have something nearby, or at least something that's going to service them nearby. And once again, West Brant, is going to be the neighborhood I think that pops into most people's minds. When we first started building there back 20 years ago, say, give or take, there were no services, right? There were very few, if any, restaurants, stores, banks, you name it. There wasn't anything down there. You had to come into, we'll call it downtown to access a lot of those services. Okay, so now those neighborhoods are developing and they're growing, and the services are coming. Businesses are investing money. Businesses are spending the money to go ahead and start their business and have the services there. So it's adding to that community feel and increasing the convenience for a lot of people. Okay, and so once again, people aren't just buying homes; they're buying a lifestyle. Okay, and as you know, this is something that I deal with on a daily basis. People are looking for the lifestyle to live in that neighborhood. Okay, so that's where, in my opinion, there's some older neighborhoods that have kind of fallen off the map in that regard because they're not as convenient. Not that they're as terrible, but people do want that little bit more convenient, closer to the school, closer to a couple stores, maybe a nice coffee shop to walk to, maybe near the trails to walk the dog or take the kids out. Nice parks nearby. I think Brantford's done a pretty good job with all the neighborhoods and how much we've grown over the past 20, 25 years. They've done a great job considering, dealing with all the city issues. And that's what people are looking for. Okay, they're buying the lifestyle. They want to be in a location where they don't, once again, like I mentioned, don't have to drive too far to go ahead and seek out these needs. Okay. Drop your questions down below. Anything that I can answer or help out with, I'd love to be able to answer and give you a bit of an idea. Because I know that people have comments, people have ideas, people have opinions, right? We want to, I want to be able to answer them and hopefully get to the bottom of it and a little bit of nitty-gritty there for you. Today, I would like to go ahead and actually no, we'll jump to our live Q&A. Live Q&A. I've got a couple messages that were sent to me here. Texted over. Thank you, by the way, for texting. And by the way, if you want the full lifestyle guide, go ahead and text me at my on my direct line, or you can DM me below. But text me is ideal at 226-400-7322. I'd love to send you over my community guide, and in there I have a lot of the information I've spoken about here, and I have some little nuggets in there for you to give you a few tips on the neighborhoods and where you can seek out additional services and to make those neighborhoods even more special for you. So reach out, text me at 226-400-7322. Love to be able to go ahead and to get that out to you. So our live Q&A, we've got a couple messages here as I bring them up. Something that someone asked is Brantford a good place to live? Yeah, it certainly is. And this is coming from someone, I've been born and raised here, spent my entire life here in Brantford, and I can tell you lots about my experience. And Brantford is a great spot. I know there's challenges like in our society. I know like there's challenges in our city. I get it. I'm a Homedale kid. Anybody's from Brantford? I'm born and raised in Homedale. Okay. And so I know the neighborhoods quite well, I feel, and it's a good place to live. And for those same reasons that I mentioned, accessible to the Highway 403 and the surrounding communities. We have all of our services and amenities here in terms of shopping, in terms of community services. It's all here. Great parks, great schools, an awesome place to raise your family. Okay. Brantford, Brant County is, in my opinion, second to none. Second to none. Everywhere I go somewhere, I always compare it to, of course, where I live, but of course I compare it to Brantford, Brant County because I think that we've done an amazing job. Okay. So yeah, it's a great place. And moving forward, Brantford's going to continue to be a great place to live. It's obviously affordable. We've talked about that, and it's close to all amenities. It's going to continue on that same path. Someone comes here and asks, what's the average home price in Brantford right now? Okay, so like I mentioned before, the benchmark so far this year is sitting at $637,500. Okay, that's the average sales price for a house in Brantford so far in 2025. Okay, to give you a bit of an idea. Now, like I mentioned, compare that to Toronto, average sales price of 1.1 million, and Hamilton, the benchmark price of $775,000. So we offer good value, and we're not too far from those other communities. If you need to commute, you need to get there. Just as we started here today, I even went ahead and brought up my Google Maps to check and just to confirm, just so I can, provide you extra value. The commute here from my office to downtown Toronto is just over an hour today, right now at this time. Okay, so if anyone's commuting, that's how long it would take you. Okay, so depending on when you commute, give or take, that's about your time. And not, don't want to forget mentioning the transit that's here is great. We've got the Via Rail Trail. If you work in downtown Toronto, goes to downtown Toronto every single morning. Very popular route. And we also have a Go bus service and Go train service if you drive to Hamilton or Ancaster and Aldershot area. So you'll have the Go services there, which is about a half-hour drive. So to avoid the traffic. Once again, not too far to commute. You can hop on those trains and away you go. Okay, I love this one. People ask me this a lot. Is the Brantford housing market crashing or stabilizing? Well, great question. I talk about this every week, so please follow me. I love to give you market updates so you know exactly what's happening in Brantford in real time. And right now I can tell you that Brantford is in a balanced market, leaning more towards the seller side. So if you're a seller looking to sell, if you're putting a realistic price on your house is going to sell. Okay. Now, people always ask me, is the market going to crash? We're so inundated with fear in our media right now, the newspapers, the social media, the news on TV. A lot of people pay attention to that, and unfortunately, a lot of people only rely on that without actually asking local voices that are in the markets for their opinions with boots on the ground. And I can tell you that things are moving, houses are selling. Now, do I think that prices are going to drop any further? No, I really don't. And I think that we're at near the bottom of our market. And so I think it's a great time to buy. That's why I'm talking to all my investors, all my first-time buyers, and all my move-ups, everyone I can, obviously, is now is a great time to move. Okay, maybe your house you're in has obviously declined in value a little bit, but you can go out there and get a good deal on another property, especially if you want to utilize some of my programs with my guaranteed sales, you buy cash. And if you bring someone a cash offer nowadays on their house, let me assure you, they are going to be communicating with you. They certainly want to go ahead and deal with you. So no, I think that what has happened in the Brantford market right now, I think we've settled down to as low as we're going to go. Interest rates have come down. Looks like they're going to come down a little bit more. And I think that's only going to stabilize our prices, because I can tell you the demand is there. We've got lots of people looking here on my team. I've got a lot of people, a lot of buyers in my database, and they're active, they're looking, and they're just, I keep telling them, turn off the bad news, and you're going to go ahead and start to see what's really happening in the market and see how active it is. So you want to jump in while you can, okay? Before it's too late. I'll answer one more quick question. How long does it take to sell a home in Brantford? This is an easy one for me because I just did the stats the other day. And currently, it's taking on average about 66 days to sell a house in the city of Brantford and in the county. It actually has the same amount of days on average that it's taking to sell a house. So it's 66 days. So keep that in mind. And if you have any other questions, please send them over, forward them in. Love to be able to answer them for you. You can, of course, text them over to me there at 226-400-7322. I'd love to get to that. I'd love to answer your question. If not today, I'll get to it next week. Let me just discuss before we go here something once again that's nearest and dearest to my heart. A local organization that's doing a great job, and that's the Brantford Blessing Center. They're serving about 150 meals a day on average to people and families that need food, that need a hot meal, that cannot provide for themselves. They're doing great work, and they're raising funds for their new community facility. I'm going to add a link below where if you feel that you'd like to go ahead and donate and give, they would love it. They certainly need it. And please donate, because they're looking to go ahead and enhance what they're doing there at the Brantford Blessing Center, continue to serve people. They're adding in a warming center this winter, and they're going to be taking donations for hats, mitts, gloves, coats, all kinds of things to give out for people in need. Okay. Once again, if you like my full lifestyle guide, text lifestyle at 226-400-7322. Love to get that out to you. And of course, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and everywhere. I look forward to connecting. I look forward to answering your questions. And until next time, I want you to have a great day. Thanks so much. Thank you so much for watching Ask the Marshal Live, my weekly live stream where I answer your questions and give you the real truths and the actual facts of what's happening here in the Brantford, Brant County, and Norfolk area markets. So please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll talk soon.